Can I do an intro?
Yeah.
Right now?
Live from Endor, it's Star Wars Total Rewatch. Yay.
With your hosts, Cody,
Aaron!
Isaac.
Daniel. Welcome back, everybody.
It's
We got a
here.
great show for you today.
Yeah, we want to go ahead and thank Max Rebo and the boys for performing that little tidbit live for us.
Give them a big hand.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Star Wars Total Rewatch, where we are rewatching the entirety of all the Star Wars films, TV shows, and whatnots.
Woo.
That's right, and today we're coming to you live from Endor. That's right.
The forest moon, not the gas giant.
No. That's right, we're on the forest moon of Endor, because today we watched Ewoks, Battle for Endor.
Yep.
Battle for Endor.
And it was quite a battle.
What a battle it was. We're doing this slightly out of order. They started making the 80s Ewoks droids cartoons a few months before this movie aired. But just for the sake of, I guess, keeping things kind of, I don't know, what do you say? Keeping things together.
In continuity.
Like in their categories. It just, I don't know, I guess we thought it made more sense to just watch these two together and then do the cartoons together. In case anyone's out there, like, with a timeline who's going to be nitpicking us.
Well, I'd be slightly disappointed
you
if
can't.
there wasn't somebody out there.
Oh, hey, before we get to in the movie, can I tell you some movies that came out that year? Because I made a list again.
Sure.
Give us some facts.
Some movies that came out in 1985. Back to the Future.
Wow.
Yeah. There are a lot of good ones. The Goonies. The Breakfast Club.
Guys.
Just basically like a lot of standard iconic 80s things. Clue.
You mentioned last time a bunch of movies. It really was like a golden age of filmmaking.
Yeah.
At that time.
Oh yeah, this is just the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
And then this came out.
Rambo, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Out of Africa, Witness, The Black Cauldron. There were a lot of okay, here's what makes this movie feel like it fits in this year, because you had the Care Bears movie, you had a He-Man movie, you had Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealer.
I mean, Black Cauldron definitely has kind of these movies kind of make me think of like The Labyrinth, stuff like that, where
there's a dark edge to these things, even though they're ostensibly for kids.
It's fantasy, yeah, and a lot of puppet kind of creatures.
Fantasy is probably a good description. Like, it feels like more fantasy than sci-fi.
Very much, right?
Oh yeah, like Star Wars.
Like, it's not like Star Wars at all. Like, I don't really.
And some people would say Star Wars is kind of more of a fantasy already with the Force and all of that.
Sure.
But these movies are.
But it's definitely
there's
different.
a spaceship, but apart from that,
Right.
this is totally a fantasy
there's
world.
And there's like witchcraft and
there's
weird.
like 2 points that it kind of gives me Star Wars vibes, but beyond that, it's kind of a generic fantasy.
More Lord of the Rings, I think, than Star Wars.
Right.
Oh yeah, we were saying how the last one was like a ripoff of The Hobbit.
Just with
Not
like
really,
horses and like those
Right.
the Urukai running through the woods and
Yeah, it was like Lord of the Rings, but with blaster rifles.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a witch is one of the main villains, like an actual like magic.
Yeah.
Right.
We're gonna
She's
have
turning
to,
into animals.
We'll get into that.
All right.
That's a big topic you're opening up there.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
can I make my comment? I'm not sure if this is a good time.
Sure.
Sure.
General,
Yeah, sure.
general comment time. That's how we start.
With 18 minutes left in the movie, there's 2 Ewoks swinging back and forth, knocking the bad guys over.
Right.
And one of the Ewoks swings off the screen, and there's a tree there, and you literally see him get pushed by a human hand back into the shot, and it's hilarious.
Nice.
I did not
So
catch that.
somehow I caught that, and I rewound it, and I was like, no way, it's literally a human. You literally see somebody push them off. So there's my one comment that I wrote down. I thought it was pretty funny.
That's what you got out of the whole movie was
that sums up the movie right there. Yeah, that's what
I'm glad you made a note of that. I want to go find it now.
I think my thoughts were this movie felt quite a bit more focused compared to the last one.
Yeah.
There's like an actual. They were actually working towards it. It didn't feel like mini episodes every 10 minutes or whatever.
This movie was
It
action.
had a story.
It was
actually
action-packed.
a lot
There
of
was
action.
lasers blasting. They had to sneak around in a castle. There was Ewoks fighting. The last end battle was actually kind of reminding me of some of the Return of the Jedi last battle. Maybe probably.
Yeah,
just
they definitely were going for that feel.
They
I
kind of
think.
had some of the same traps. But
All right, so Battle for Endor was the sequel to the other Ewok movie, and it's a direct continuation of it, of their story. To give a quick recap on what happens in this one, some minor spoilers. Sindel becomes orphaned in the beginning.
very quickly.
Sindel's entire family is killed in like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
It's a bit brutal.
Oh my goodness.
She then gets taken in by the Ewoks and captured by these marauders, but they escape. They find an old man and some little creature that is way too fast. And then they go on a quest to save the other Ewoks.
And they defeat this. There's like a witch and some. I don't know what the creatures are called.
They're called Sansians, which actually they were in some of the. Oh, they were in the MMO, Star Wars Galaxies.
Oh, really?
I think most things were.
And so it actually was kind of brutal in the beginning, and apparently there was a parent's discretion warning in the beginning when it first aired to warn people that there were some violent natures in the beginning as well as some distressing themes.
What a terrible way to start a movie.
And I was thinking, this does not take place like very long at all after the first one. It's like they save their parents and then the whole family gets killed. Like if you watched it back to back, it's like, oh.
In so many ways, this just doesn't make sense to me. I was actually mad that they did that. Like that girl has been through enough already.
She's just like so traumatized.
I mean, I'm not like trying to compare it. It's more of a comparing as a joke a little bit, but like, you know, the Bourne movie, the second one, very shortly into the movie,
Right.
the girl he's with in the whole first movie, they just kill her off so that Bourne can go be born.
Yeah.
That's like what they did in this movie, except it's just the girl.
Right.
It's just like, let's just kill the rest of the family because none of them were good anyway, and we'll keep her because we got to keep somebody.
I don't really know why they did that.
That's a good point, though. It's like, yeah, the Bourne movie, and the point is, from a storytelling perspective, why would you negate everything that happened in the first movie?
Yeah.
I guess they really wanted a motivating factor to try to like really shove Sindel on her own and have this little adventure.
Yeah, but it makes you not care about the first one anymore.
No, I know.
Because the main point of that movie is like doesn't matter anymore.
Oh yeah, I agree. They this is not the way to do it. This just seems like the quickest, easiest route of doing it.
I think it should have been a different girl or a different way of having a kid by themselves. Like they could have done something, because separately from being like a storytelling thing, just as a kids movie, that's kind of a traumatizing thing for a kid. Like you're supposed to identify with this child.
I will give her this though; she handled death just as well in this one as she did in the first one.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Her character was
Two
the same.
comments, not even sad, and move on.
My family's all dead.
Oh no!
Because you commented in the first one,
Yeah.
she already seemed too familiar.
Well, it's just the
with
way she delivers the lines. I don't know why they wrote those lines for her, but she's too young to feel like it's a believable thing that she's saying.
I mean, I'm just gonna say this: the writing didn't get any better, and the acting wasn't any better.
But we only had to watch one kid this time instead of.
But like, even the old guy was it was so awkward.
That's true. He was at least as bad as the kids.
Yeah.
He might have been better than him.
Yeah.
The creatures were better because they're just kind of like, you know, you don't really have emotion with their face, so like, you know, it's fine. They're just gonna say their lines. You know what I mean?
Right, and most of their lines are gibberish, but actually Wicket,
Right.
which surprised me when they started off, and Wicket was speaking English,
Yeah.
like basic, as it's called in
Oh yeah.
Star Wars.
basic.
Right. At the end of the first one, he had learned a couple of words, but here he's conversing. He's learned a lot.
He's a smart Ewok.
They are smart. They're very resourceful.
He is actually very resourceful. She is very useless.
I love that. Look at that face.
How can you not like that face?
How can you not love that?
Wicket's face is just can't go wrong there.
He's got his eyes bugging out. And he's got his big buck teeth. I think that he's got like some animatronics or something like in his face. Because there's like a point here at the beginning where he comes up pretty close to the screen and it looks like his eyes are moving.
Yeah, and his tongue moves, but it's not just a mask. Like there's there parts of the mask are moving.
Right. His mouth moves, and I'm just trying to think because I mean it's Warwick Davis in there. So the way that they put these costumes on, like I imagine the mouth is connected to his jaw, so that when he moves his mouth, it moves the mouth. But then the way the eyes move, where they'll have somebody off-screen controlling, like remote control parts of the character.
Yeah, I mean, their faces didn't really seem to show that much emotion, and I mean, if they did use it, they didn't use it a whole lot.
No, but the other Ewoks I don't think have that. Wicket specifically because he's the main one.
Oh.
Has a little bit more expression to him.
Okay.
What's just interesting to me about that is that this movie had a decently high production value.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of what I was saying with the first one too, but this one really did. Like there's like explosions and I don't know, the effects are a lot better. There's some serious pyrotechnics going on.
Yeah, if you ignore the dialogue and some of the acting stuff, like it looks like a real movie.
Oh yeah. It doesn't feel too far off from the actual Star Wars trilogy, production-wise.
Yeah, in the beginning, like there was a few tracking shots, like through the battle that was going on when the Marauders first attacked the Ewok village.
Sure.
That just made me think that, like, wow, this is actually not that bad of a shot. Well, this was clearly, even though it was very dark and bleak in the beginning and had some brutal moments, it was obviously a kids' movie.
Yeah, other than that, the rest of it felt like a pretty normal kids movie.
It didn't seem to stray too far into like super kids. There was a few scenes where they had like some slapstick humor or some funny thing that would happen.
Less than the first one.
This one definitely had a more serious tone. I actually really liked it.
Yeah.
I agree that it's, like for kids, but like the bad guys were so creepy and there's just like this random really creepy stuff in it,
Oh yeah.
I really liked these aliens, the bad guys that they are fighting. And especially the main leader. He's super cool.
Tarak.
Yeah, he was pretty cool. He could be like a cool bounty hunter or something, I feel like.
I wondered why they were here. Are they native to Endor?
They are not.
It didn't feel like it. I mean, like they've got like some technology, but they definitely do not do well in the forest, which Endor is known best for.
Yep.
But if they weren't from here, why do they not understand what a ship is?
The reason they attacked the Ewoks at the beginning was because of Sindel's family's, was it Star Cruiser?
Yep.
That had crashed. And they wanted the power cell from the engine because somehow they knew that it contained some power, but they didn't understand what it was or how to use it. So if they came from space, like, has it been generations and they've forgotten how that worked? Or I don't know, like, what did it say about them, Cody?
Yeah, so basically he was the leader of the Marauders. It was like some criminal space pirate thing, but then they crash landed on Endor and he was looking for a way to get off the planet, but I guess they'd been there for a while, and they're not exactly the most smartest, so...
Yeah, they definitely don't seem very smart, and they totally felt like they were some washed-up gang.
I mean, they were pretty good in the beginning, but towards the end, yeah, they just...
That's true. At times they were good, and other convenient times they weren't.
Exactly.
They became a little bit more like bumbling villains toward the end. I felt like they started running into each other and...
Oh yeah.
Right. So the claymation lizards that the Marauders use, they're totally in the new Mandalorian.
Really?
Nice.
Because somebody posted the leaked Mandalorian trailer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shot of him riding one of those things.
Well, that's awesome.
That is really cool.
I like that they can go back to these relatively unknown bits of Star Wars. Like you're talking about how some of these characters have shown up in the games or wherever.
Some of the creatures I think have been pretty cool. And then other times they just have horses, which is...
Right. I feel like the design team for the original trilogy was behind this whole project.
I think a lot of the same people, yeah.
But then probably budget issues forced them to use things like just real horses.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't really get like some of that stuff. Just seems so not Star Wars.
It feels
like,
so out of place.
Yeah, I just don't really get what like there was 3 movies before this. Like people kind of know what Star Wars is about. It's not like there were ever magic or horses in the other ones.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird why they did that in this.
So apparently Lucas went on record, is he talking about the Ewoks movies, he said, we made 2 and we're going to do a 3rd, but they became very expensive to make.
Yeah.
Okay, so they liked them, but maybe they weren't making enough back from them to be worth it.
I just want to know why we got Ewok movies, but we never got Gungan movies. That's all I want to know.
Oh man.
The lizards, the Marauders
riding?
series, yeah. So I finally found out what the name of those were.
Okay.
They're called blurgs.
What a great name.
That is so fitting. I mean, it's better than what was in the other movie, like a bear wolf or something like that.
Yeah, boar wolf.
So it's better than that,
But yeah,
for sure.
but these they show up a lot in a lot of canon stuff. They're like in the Clone Wars TV show, apparently.
They're pretty cool.
And they were actually in Republic Commando, but it got cut out at one point.
They didn't want a blurg in there?
But yeah, then the Marauders capture Sindel and Wicket and a few other Ewoks and throw them into some cage cart thing.
And and Wicket and Sindel escape because they are small enough to fit through the hole in the whatever that cart is.
Yeah.
They escape and I guess plan to come back and find the other Ewoks later.
First, they're like running for their life because these guys are chasing them. They climb up a mountain, and then they go into a cave, and there's some kind of monster in the cave. Like these guys just cannot catch a break.
It was a pterodactyl.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the Hobbit again.
Yeah.
But I love this. So they're in this cave up on a mountain, and the first thing Wicket starts to do is freaking build a glider.
Yeah.
Well, that's because they were trapped in the cave.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, but he's, like you said, he's smart. He can put stuff together. He built that whole glider.
I know.
overnight.
I love it.
Instantly glider.
They're so resourceful.
And what does Sindel do? She takes a nap.
She's a little girl.
Wicket's a little boy.
But
No way.
maybe Ewoks live for hundreds of years. Maybe a child Ewok is
They
like,
just age differently.
we don't know.
He's an old pro, obviously. Look at this.
Yeah. So that pterodactyl monster, though, was another great stop motion monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it carries Sindel away out the mouth of the
great.
cave.
Technically, to be specific, it carries claymation Sindel away.
Yeah.
Oh, was she also? I didn't notice.
Yes.
Very much so.
But Wicket chases it on his hang glider. And
Now, he engineered this thing really well because it's fast. He gains on that thing so quick.
It's a good glider.
oh yeah.
All of a sudden, he takes a rock.
Mhm.
Yeah, he takes these rocks.
But, like, those are some big rocks.
Oh, I know. He's
to
got
be-
so much weight.
They do that in Return of the Jedi, too.
That's a good point. So those are some good aerodynamics to be flying.
It's a common thing to
Mhm.
do. Is you always bring rocks just in case you got to drop them on someone's head.
Sure.
Well, and that way you can drop them to go higher.
Right, like
Yeah.
a
Hot air balloon style. Yeah.
That's exactly how
Right.
gliders work.
That's how gliders work, exactly.
if you were going gliding with an Ewok and you didn't bring any rocks, they would think you were just.
They would just say yub yub.
It would be like the most condescending yub yub you've ever heard.
Yub nub.
Anyway, they are fine. They escape.
Yeah, moving on.
So now they're in the woods.
And they meet this little leprechaun, Bugs Bunny, whatever you call him.
Teak.
And he is very fast.
Yeah, he just moves like a...
He's the Flash.
Yeah, he moves like the Flash.
They should have just sent him to rescue the Ewoks,
Yeah.
and this movie would have been over in 5 minutes.
I feel like he's really overpowered.
Yeah, he probably easily could have single-handedly taken out all those Marauders.
He'd be like Quicksilver in that one X-Men.
I actually like this character, though. I think he's funny.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also semi-intelligent, like the Ewoks are. So it
Yeah.
kind of makes me wonder what species he is, too.
He's the only one of his kind, as far as we see.
Well,
Mhm.
according to Wikipedia, the species name is Teak, and they apparently are native to Endor.
And is his name also Teak?
Yes, his name was Teak, and he was a member of the Teak species.
It'd be like calling Wicket Ewok.
All right, thank you, human, for sharing that. They go and discover a random house in the forest, and it's that old guy, Noah. The actor is Wilford Brimley, and he's actually been in a lot of movies.
Not one of his better performances.
I don't think I've seen most of what he's in.
I think it's just the writing, though. The writing was just, like, very awkward.
No, but I don't know, his acting, though, was pretty bad. He was trying to sound like a grumpy old man who, he had a good heart, though.
Yeah, and I didn't buy it even a little bit.
I wrote some of his lines down because they were kind of hilarious.
Right.
Look, you've been messing with my stuff. And he says, I told you I don't want no strangers around this place, and look what you done. You brought him here.
It's just the way the writing is horrible, though.
That's a good delivery, too, Aaron. That's pretty much what it sounds like.
It made me think of just somebody on the crew, like, brought in their dad or grandpa and had him read the lines.
We could have acted to the quality of all these actors.
It felt like generic old countryman.
Yeah, it was pretty generic. Like, don't you go giving that food to those
little beggars.
Little beggar.
Oh, I finally found out how I know who Wilford Brimley is. He was the guy who said diabetes.
He is in these infomercials.
That's his claim to fame.
And a close second is Ewoks Battle for Endor.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, he felt like he kept flip-flopping back and forth between being a nice guy and being a
old grumpy man.
Yeah.
But in the end, he was a good guy and he helped him out.
So he'd been here alone so long too. He just needed somebody to care about, and Sindel needed someone to take care of her now, so they made a good team.
Mm-hmm. They're both human.
Yep.
That's a plus.
They're both human.
I liked this character, though, Noah. His lines and his acting is kind of bad, but there was like one scene where he's talking about how he got here. That made me kind of sympathize. It was just an interesting story. It was like him and his friend, and they were young, and they were going to go take on the galaxy, and then they immediately crash land on Endor. Right. And his friend goes off to search for another power supply and never comes back.
Yep.
And we find out later his friend got captured and killed by the Marauders.
Yeah.
Which tells you how long they've been there.
Just thought that was interesting. It's like this was never the place he wanted to be. You can kind of just feel that in the whole character a little bit.
At least in that scene, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. There was some good stuff. And he was kind of telling her about his story, and Sindel sang that song about a star that her mom taught her. Yeah. I liked that scene. I thought that was
nice.
There's
some pretty touching moments in this movie.
Yeah.
And then he like nicely but yells at them, invites them inside.
He doesn't want to seem too friendly. Come on.
Yeah, but while we're there, Sindel has PTSD and has that nightmare scene.
Oh yeah.
Where she wakes up and there's a whole bunch of marauders there, and the one marauder king jumps out of the bed.
That was creepy.
She's definitely traumatized.
Yeah.
But apparently in this scene where she goes to the bed and it's one of the king guy who's in the bed, apparently that scene was cut out in was either the DVD release or something.
Really?
Which one it was? Yeah.
Yeah. Kids don't need that.
It's a pretty intense movie.
There was that witch, though, that works for this guy.
Should we talk about the witch?
Oh, boy.
Segment about the witch.
Yeah, let's talk about the witch.
And her name is Charal, or Charal. I'm not sure how.
Yeah, so we find out the witch that she's not, like, working with them. She's working for the king.
Yeah.
But then she, like, is completely fine to keep working for him.
She seemed to get a little more complex as it went. Like, she seemed like just the villain, but later on in the movie, she doesn't seem to really want to be working for these guys. And then she gets arrested and thrown in the same dungeon or whatever as the Ewoks and Sindel.
Yeah, and there they, like, talk a little bit, and it kind of seems like she's gonna be good. And then she's like, hey, let me out. And Wicked's about to let her out, and Sindel's like, no. Just a hard no.
We jump forward here a little bit, but yeah, that was a bit brutal on Sindel's part.
Like, she gets duped earlier in the movie by just the most gullible thing, but then just no. I guess it was by her, so she remembered.
She's learned her lesson.
That's fair. She remembered.
Sindel never forgets.
Right.
I mean, if this lady was gonna help them, she wasn't gonna become a good guy. She was just sort of seems out for herself.
Well, I am very curious who this person is because
She looks human.
She looks human, but she doesn't really seem to know anything about technology. So where did she come from?
Her whole character to me is just not Star Wars.
Right. She feels like she's right out of a different movie.
There's also some legends or less canon than that where she's one of the Night Sisters.
Yep.
So her magic seems to come from a ring, some kind of magic ring, and that's not really explained. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything about the Night Sisters, but I like the idea of people using the Force unconventionally, and maybe that ring is some kind of like Force crystal or something. You know what I mean? She has like transformation power, which she uses usually to turn into a crow.
Yeah.
But she lures Cinda out of Noah's house by transforming into some kind of fairy angel.
And her horse magically appears as a white unicorn-looking horse.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the horn, but it has that feel to it.
Yep.
Some kind of illusion powers that she has. Trying to get a read on exactly what her limits are with that magic ring.
It can do whatever the plot requires.
Because there's a later point when, what's the bad guy's name? The king?
Tarak.
It's like he doesn't trust her, but he wants her to chase the Ewoks, and so she turns into a crow, and then the king takes the ring off of the crow so that she can't turn back.
I liked that. I wonder if he does that a lot
Yeah.
to kind of keep some control over
Yeah,
her.
and he puts it on a chain around his neck. I like that idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that she didn't know how their power cell worked either.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, at first I thought she was kind of like just working everybody, like for her own ends to try to get this thing. But it turns out, no, she has no idea what it is. She just knows it's some kind of power and wants to get it just like the other guy does.
And he's having her try to use her magic on the power cell. So
Right,
he doesn't know
right.
how it works, which is
No.
strange. So the reason that they want the power cell, they don't really get into it too much, but he's got some kind of blueprint of a spaceship,
I thought
which I
that
think
was from Noah's
which would have come from
friend.
Noah's friend. Yeah. This is the only thing that they know about the technology.
Yeah. But like they know how magic works, and so they're assuming this thing is what they saw it do, like coming out of
But they
the
also
sky.
have blaster rifles.
Yeah, it doesn't
Like,
add up. They also came
don't-
from outer space.
Yeah, they're very
Oh.
they're very confused, a little bit
I
stupid.
Yeah.
I forgot that they had
My
blasters.
only theory is that they're all actually really dumb, which I think we agree. And they had one leader, and he must have died in the
And
crash.
he was the only one who knew anything.
It makes me think of the Vorcha from Mass Effect.
Yeah.
The way they talked about the power source too, it was almost like it was magic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't when they talk about it, they don't know what it's really doing. They're just like, we want to unlock its power. Like, what?
Right. They don't even know what it's for.
They know it's the power of the stars, and they say we want that, but they don't know.
Right. They don't
anything
actually know
about-
more than that, yeah.
What is it? Indistinguishable from magic. If you have advanced technology.
Sure.
Yeah,
like
right.
if like I'm trying to imagine what we might discover and just have no understanding of it, if it was something from the future
Yep,
or
exactly.
or whatever.
And if you think about it that way, I kind of like this whole thing. That they're a whole misunderstanding of how this power cell works.
So they have her go get Sindel because they're like, yep, she must be the only one that knows how to do it. And she has no idea. But like, come on. Like, how doesn't she know anything? She really doesn't know anything.
No, she's a little kid. But it's their best lead.
And they're telling Sindel, make this thing work, and she's just looking at them like, what? What do you want me
I don't
to
even know what
do?
this
I'm a
is."
kid.
Yeah. But Cheryl uses her powers to lure Sindel away from Noah's cabin, I guess, and then kidnaps her and brings her to the castle that apparently the Marauders have. I don't know if they built the castle or if they just found it.
Right. And if they found it, who builds castles on Endor? I don't know.
Right, but then we see Noah get suited up, and like there's this long action shot of him like putting on these raincoat and like grabbing his gun and getting his bag and like clipping the buckles, and he's just getting all ready to go save Sindel. I thought it was mildly amusing.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I like that. I thought he was going to actually get out a lightsaber or something for a minute. I had hopes.
That would have been cool.
But right, he's putting all his gear on, and they've got like pretty familiar backpack clips clipping together for like his jacket and stuff. Just the good old standard plastic clips that everybody's seen before.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Well, it's clearly just the best way to make that technology work, and every galaxy has discovered
they
it.
got those in Star Wars too. Wow.
Great.
It's like having the wheel.
Right. There just isn't any better way to do that. Make those clips. That's the most advanced we're ever going to get with it.
Yeah, so Noah and Teak and Wicket go to the castle, and they work on sneaking their way through the castle to go bust out the Ewoks and Sindel in some crazy stealth mission now.
Staging a jailbreak.
Ocean's 11 heist.
Pretty much.
They should have had like a scene where they roll out their plans on a table first, and like where you're seeing what they're going to do. Here's how our plan is gonna play out.
It's not a very elaborate plan.
No,
They
it's not.
climb up a wall, they take out some guards.
At one point, they are disguised by
That's
Wicket
right.
standing on like the guy's shoulders, and they have a big cloak over them. It's pretty bad disguise.
So the aliens here feel kind of stupid. Like we were saying, it definitely changes. But what I kind of liked about them, like they are terrible at guarding this castle. But the castle is totally crap, and honestly, I think they've all been here so long, they don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, who's gonna attack them here? There's nobody else on this place.
Like they basically, with that cloak over them, they just kind of walked through the room, and nobody really was paying attention.
No, right.
But they made good use of Teak's flash speedrunning abilities to sneak around and grab some stuff.
Yeah, some. I think he could have done a little more.
Oh, he could have done everything, but that would have been no fun.
Yeah, he's like trying to steal the jailer's keys, but the jailer sits on his hand, and he's like, "Oh no, he sat on my hand. I can't believe."
And he doesn't see him; they're busy playing cards. But just that he's stuck there.
Stuck.
You think can't he just zip out of it?
Right.
I don't know.
And then we see this amazing play by Teak where he sneaks a card up the sleeve of the jailer while he's playing cards. And so the other guard that the jailer is playing against thinks that the guard was cheating, and so they pull blasters on each other and shoot each other.
They shoot each other, yeah. Wasted.
Which was pretty funny.
I loved that.
It was great. They're just like these...
hesitate at all.
No,
No.
they're both dead.
Yeah, and then they blow a hole in the wall with something Noah had, and
So Noah uses explosive charge on the wall. It's exactly the same thing that they used to blow up the shield generator in Return of the Jedi.
Oh yeah, that's great.
There's certain things that you're like, oh right, it's Star Wars.
And I feel like that maybe is kind of cool because, I don't know, maybe they're like saying those were just left around and he found one. Maybe it's just a common explosive device.
Right. At least it's something familiar.
Yeah, the same technology is around. People are using it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, they blow a hole in the wall, and the Ewoks all zipline out of there, and the bad guys try to zipline after them, but they all, like, fall down on the line and fall in the moat.
Right. But the part I love about this is when the king comes in, because the zip line's still hanging.
Yeah.
But like there's the three guards that are like trying to climb up out of the moat, but the king's walking through and he just cuts the line because he didn't want it in his way, and you just hear them fall into the water.
Those guys, they were so intimidating at the beginning of the movie, and now they're just kind of funny.
We should probably mention the fact that when they were rescuing Sindel shows Noah the power cell, and he realizes that he can use the power cell to power his ship.
Oh yeah.
We didn't connect those dots.
Right.
Oh, yeah, his ship booting up was kind of cool.
His ship is awesome.
His ship is actually what I would picture a Star Cruiser.
And it's got guns on it. He doesn't really say what they were doing in space.
Every Star Wars ship has
But
guns.
Yeah.
to me, it seems like him and his friend are just like, let's go explore the galaxy, and somehow they have like this sweet ship with guns all over it.
Yeah.
Like, the ships we usually see in Star Wars are kind of made for fighting, military, you know? And so that doesn't mean every ship has that.
Right.
Just like most of the cars we drive around in aren't built like tanks.
Yes.
They should be, though.
Can you imagine if they were, though?
Yeah.
Rolling around.
So all the Marauders gather forces and they charge after them to the ship, and the Ewoks mount a crazy defense, and they magically have all these bows and arrows.
They built those bows and arrows. That they're so resourceful.
I know they're just all ready to go.
It's very reminiscent of the end of Return of the Jedi.
Like,
Yep.
they are warriors, you know, they carry spears around. So there must be something on the planet that they have had to defend themselves.
They're basically using guerrilla warfare tactics, which makes me wonder why they needed to learn how to do this stuff. Like, they're really good at
We've
it.
seen Ewoks very few times, and they're always fighting guerrilla style.
Where'd they learn how to do this?
Instinct.
Well, right. It would have to be some sort of instinctual thing, but there would have to be a reason for them to develop that.
Endor is a very hostile planet.
Right. That's what I'm wondering. What else is out there?
It is. Even if they weren't fighting other armies, we've seen plenty of dinosaurs and monsters they've had to...
Yeah.
But are there like other Ewok factions, that they
Ooh.
war against each other?
Maybe.
I want to see a new Ewok movie about that.
Ewoks killing Ewoks.
Ugh. Now, I thought it was interesting. Earlier in the movie, Wicket falls into a trap that the old man set around his ship.
Yeah.
He set a bunch of these traps, allegedly, and he gets caught up by one. It's just a rope that grabs Wicket's leg and pulls him up in the air. And it happens again in the final battle, but the comment the old man makes to Wicket and the girl earlier is something like, "What are you guys doing out here? I have much more dangerous traps all over the place out here." And you never see any more of those.
Right.
And people are running all over the place.
Well, you do, though, because remember when the Ewoks let loose those tiny little logs that roll down the hill?
That was one of his deadly traps.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not impressed. Like when they rolled those logs, like half of them were like falling over instantly.
Yeah.
They're like going all around one of the guys. You're
Yeah.
Like, what?
Doesn't get hit at all.
Is that it? And then like the other guys like turn around and run away.
And the Ewoks cheer. Terrible. They're terrible traps.
I am gonna say these guys don't like force at all.
I know. I did say that before. They're not made for this planet.
Nope.
They're just walking through and they are just destroying every tree that's even remotely close. Like even if it's not in the way, they're just
Getting stuck
Yeah.
in everything.
Yeah.
It's like they're purposely running into it.
they're 100%.
Yeah. So Wicket gets stuck in another snare.
Yep.
And one of the Ewoks catapults himself onto the bad guy.
Save him because they're gonna shoot him.
When they showed that catapult, I was just waiting for one of the Ewoks to go on.
Right. Gotta do it.
But yeah, Sindel, worried for Wicket, runs out of the ship where she was safe and hiding and runs in through the battlefield to go save Wicket.
To go yell at Wicket basically because she can't do
Yeah,
anything.
pretty much.
She almost got shot, though. That guy was going to shoot her.
I was nervous for a second.
Well, she gets captured by the king then.
Oh yeah,
He's got a sword to her.
So that's what happens next.
that's pretty intense.
Is the king picks up Sindel, holding her hostage. He's like the last one. All of his gang members are gone. Either they're dead or they ran away.
Yeah.
I think most of them ran away. Those traps weren't very deadly.
Oh yeah, and he demands the power source in exchange for Sindel. So Noah had his ship all powered up, but he just brings him the power source, which I thought was pretty noble of him.
Heroic.
He's definitely
Yeah.
got his priorities in
And,
order.
Yeah.
and not only that, but he sets it down and goes, "Let her go, and we'll fight over this."
Right. You can fight me for
I'll
it.
fight you for it.
And he's like, sure.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, he's got a sword. There's this old guy in front of him with a staff.
Right.
It's pretty obvious he's going to win.
But little did you know, Noah's been spending all the time he's been stuck
You'll
here
find-
training.
He's full of surprises.
Yeah, right.
That old guy is a pretty good fighter. He's better than I expected.
Right.
Yeah, and we see this epic duel where Noah just blocking hits from the sword with his wooden staff.
That is what epic duels needs.
But he doesn't really win the fight, right?
No.
The guy ends up getting destroyed by the magic ring.
Well, Teak jumps on his head too. It wasn't really a fair fight.
I kept wondering why it was a fair fight. I'm like, why aren't the Ewoks just
Right.
intervening to stop him?
It's like, do you really care about letting this play out?
Yeah, so Sindel asks Wicket to finally do something.
Wicket does a slingshot move.
And it somehow activates it, and it turns the guy into like an ash statue. That felt like an Indiana Jones villain ending.
No, it totally reminded me of like Ark of the Covenant style death scene there.
Yeah, that was an interesting end for the villain. Kind of a pitiful way to go.
No, but it's that's the power that he's been seeking this whole movie, and it destroys him. Like that's the irony of it is pretty good.
I kind of thought it wasn't, because that was like the witch's ring, which he was trying to control her. And you're right, he was also always trying to seek power, this power source, kind of foolishly, didn't really know what he was doing, but in the end it got the best of him.
Yep, and then the witch is stuck as a raven forever.
Right.
Yeah, I like that they kind of showed her. It was like she watched him die,
Did she just fly away?
Yeah.
Yeah, she just flies off somewhere.
I feel like there's got to still be some power in that ring. Like, it's still glowing in his hand.
Well, it became one of the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
There you go.
But they did it. They saved the day, and then finally Noah and Sindel leave Endor forever to their fate. And they leave all the Ewoks and Teak.
And the Ewoks wave goodbye from a mountaintop.
They don't leave forever. Sindel says she's going to come back.
She does say she'll come and visit him.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
Maybe. If they had made a third movie, Yeah. I was looking at the Wikipedia page about it. There's some non-canon ways that they've continued these stories. I guess Sindel shows up in a novel somewhere as a reporter on a Coruscant.
Huh.
Great.
Yep. In the book Tyrant's Test from mid-90s. Oh, also, there was a rumor going around a year or two ago that she is Captain Phasma.
Okay.
Wait.
No.
Huh?
Yeah, that adds up.
I would love to see that story.
So you can take that for what it's worth.
Wicket's face is really hard to read. Like, what's he thinking?
Yeah, is he sad, or is he happy, or is he just kind of indifferent?
Is he constipated?
We don't really know.
In the fur costumes, I don't know.
Is Warwick Davis just sweating buckets right now?
Most likely.
Yeah.
Is he wondering, can I take this thing off yet?
Right. Sindel just tears rolling down her cheeks.
Yep.
What a sad kid. Like, even though they got saved and they're able to get off Endor, it's like she has to leave the only family she has left.
Right.
The Ewoks.
To go with Santa Claus.
Pretty
Yeah.
bad.
I do. I feel bad for her now, too. Do you think she could have just stayed with the Ewoks and been raised by them?
Probably.
So I kind of wondered, she was pretty young, that I think she would have been totally fine living with the Ewoks forever.
Yeah, I feel like that was a bad move on her part. Like, where are they going to go now? I mean,
Right, where are they going to go?
this guy's washed up. He doesn't even know where to go.
People don't land on Endor very often. He's been here for ages. Like, if she did stay with them, that would probably just be her life, is living with the Ewoks.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm
Which
saying.
maybe
I think she'd be
would have been
totally
okay.
fine with that.
She seemed to have more of a connection with the Ewoks than with humans. And you could tell by her reactions to her family dying.
Yeah, she wasn't too broken up about it. I mean, Wicket was her best friend. They say it multiple times.
I mean, the movie, I didn't think it was that bad.
No, I like this one.
Yeah. It was,
Yeah, there was parts that I enjoyed. There were some parts that slogged on a little bit, but overall, I mean...
Better than the first one, except what happens to Sindel's family made me mad. But otherwise, it was good. I like.
But if you ignore the first one, then the beginning doesn't feel quite as bad.
Right, if you didn't know those characters. Yeah.
And this one wrapped up pretty well, so I'm not sure how they were going to if they were just going to have some different humans, or if it was just all going to be Ewoks for the third one. But we'll never know.
They would have figured
She
something
comes
out.
back.
Maybe, yeah, right. She probably comes back.
Oh
and-
yeah.
The ship is flying away, and then it blows up, and Noah dies, and then
And
she's
it crashes.
The ship immediately gets
Doesn't
blown
have
up.
to.
They both die.
Or she comes back and visits, like she said.
Well, I think it
Wow,
blows.
you
It,
guys.
it doesn't blow up, but
It immediately crash lands on top of all the Ewoks.
Oh gosh.
That would open.
Terrible. All right, whatever. Coming up next, we'll be getting into the cartoons. So
Right, we're done with these Ewok movies, but that's not it for Ewoks yet, because we still have 2 seasons of an Ewok cartoon show to watch, as well as a season of Droids, which aired concurrently with the first season of Ewok.
So we haven't really actually decided what order we're gonna do those in, but coming next will be either Droids or Ewoks. We need like a tagline to end with.
That's all, folks. Oh, no, wait, that's...
That one's taken.
Stay tuned for
May
that.
the Force be with you. So much for that.
So much.
All right. So much for that. Bye.
Bye.